The Unforgettable Party. James Carter stood in front of the mirror, adjusting his tie for the 5th time. Tonight was the night of the annual neighborhood party, an event he had heard about ever since he moved to Maplewood 6 months ago. Known for its grandeur and charm, the party was the highlight of the year, bringing together all the residents for an evening of fun, food, and friendship. James was a teacher at Maplewood High School, where he taught English to students who spoke it as a second language. He loved his job, but it had been a challenging few months settling into a new town and making friends. The party seemed like the perfect opportunity to get to know his neighbors better and feel more integrated into the community. As he finished getting ready, James's phone buzzed. It was a message from Mrs. Bennet, the host of the party and a well-known figure in the neighborhood. "We're looking forward to seeing you tonight, James. Remember, the party starts at 7 p.m. sharp." James smiled, appreciating the warm welcome. Mrs. Bennet was renowned for her hospitality and her ability to bring people together. Her house, an elegant Victorian mansion, was the ideal venue for such an event. Arriving a few minutes early, James was greeted by a stunning display of lights adorning the front yard. The entire house seemed to glow, casting a warm, inviting light into the chilly evening. James took a deep breath and walked up the steps to the front door, where he was greeted by a cheerful doorman. "Welcome to the Bennet residence. Please, come in," the doorman said, opening the door wide. The interior of the house was even more impressive. The entry hall was decorated with garlands of flowers and twinkling fairy lights. The sound of soft jazz music floated through the air, mingling with the murmur of conversation and laughter. James was immediately enveloped in the festive atmosphere. He made his way to the coat room, where he hung up his jacket, and then ventured into the main living area. The room was filled with people chatting, laughing, and enjoying the delicious spread of food laid out on a long table. Spotting Mrs. Bennet near the fireplace, James made his way over to thank her for the invitation. "James, I'm so glad you could make it," she said, giving him a warm hug. "I hope you have a wonderful time tonight. Please, make yourself at home." "Thank you, Mrs. Bennet. Everything looks amazing," James replied, genuinely impressed by the effort she had put into the event. He spent the next hour mingling with the guests, trying to remember everyone's names and faces. The variety of people was astonishing, from young couples to elderly residents. Everyone seemed to be here, and each person brought their own unique story. James soon found himself in conversation with a group of people who were discussing their travels. Intrigued, he joined in, sharing his experiences of teaching English abroad in Japan and Spain. The group listened with interest, asking questions and sharing their own travel tales. As the night progressed, James found himself gradually relaxing. He sampled the delicious food, everything from delicate hors d'oeuvres to rich, decadent desserts. There was even a chocolate fountain, much to the delight of the children present. At one point, James noticed a young woman standing alone near the window, looking slightly out of place. She seemed to be around his age and was watching the festivities with a thoughtful expression. James decided to introduce himself. "Hi there, I'm James," he said, extending his hand. "I don't think we've met before." The woman turned and smiled, shaking his hand warmly. "Hi, James. I'm Emily. I just moved to Maplewood last month. It's nice to meet someone else who's new here. Welcome to the neighborhood, James said, feeling a sense of camaraderie. How are you finding it so far? It's been good, though a bit overwhelming, Emily admitted. But this party is amazing. It's a great way to meet people. James nodded in agreement. I felt the same way when I first arrived. It takes time, but everyone here is really friendly. What brought you to Maplewood? I got a job at the local hospital as a nurse, Emily explained. It seemed like a nice place to start fresh. They continued chatting, finding common ground in their experiences of moving to a new place and starting new jobs. Emily shared stories of her nursing adventures, while James recounted amusing anecdotes from his classroom. They laughed and bonded over their shared experiences, feeling more at ease with each passing moment. As the evening wore on, Mrs. Bennet announced that it was time for a game. She had a tradition of organizing a fun activity to get everyone involved and interacting. This year, it was a scavenger hunt. We've hidden various items around the house and garden, she explained. Each item has a clue that will lead you to the next. The first person or team to find all the items wins a special prize. Excited murmurs filled the room as people began forming teams. James and Emily decided to pair up, eager to join in the fun. They received their first clue and set off on their quest. The scavenger hunt took them through every corner of the house and garden. They searched high and low, deciphering the clever clues that Mrs. Bennet had crafted. Along the way, they encountered other teams, sharing laughs and friendly competition. As they worked together, James and Emily found that they made a great team. Emily's keen observation skills complemented James's knack for solving puzzles. They supported and encouraged each other, growing more determined with each clue they solved. The final clue led them to the attic, a dimly lit space filled with old furniture and boxes. They carefully searched the room, trying to find the hidden item. Emily spotted a small chest tucked away in the corner, and they opened it to reveal the last clue. We did it! Emily exclaimed, high-fiving James. Now we just need to find Mrs. Bennet and claim our prize. They hurried back downstairs, where they found Mrs. Bennet waiting with a smile. She congratulated them on their victory and presented them with a beautifully wrapped gift basket filled with gourmet treats and a bottle of wine. Well done, you two, she said. I hope you enjoy your prize. And thank you for participating in the scavenger hunt. It's always such a joy to see everyone having fun together. James and Emily thanked her, feeling a sense of accomplishment and camaraderie. They rejoined the party, enjoying the rest of the evening with newfound friends. As the night drew to a close, James realized how much he had enjoyed himself. The party had been a wonderful opportunity to connect with his neighbors and make new friends. He felt more at home in Maplewood than ever before. Walking Emily to her car, James felt a sense of excitement for the future. They exchanged numbers and made plans to meet up again soon. Tonight was great, Emily said, smiling at James. Thanks for being such a fun scavenger hunt partner. Likewise, James replied. I'm glad we met. Welcome to Maplewood, Emily. As he watched her drive away, James felt a sense of contentment. The party had not only been an evening of fun but also a reminder of the importance of community and connection. He looked forward to the adventures and friendships that lay ahead in his new home, knowing that he was now truly a part of the vibrant Maplewood community. The days following the party were filled with new experiences and growing friendships for James. He and Emily met up frequently, exploring the town's charming cafes, parks, and local attractions. Their bond strengthened with each passing day, and soon they found themselves becoming close friends. One sunny afternoon, James and Emily decided to visit the Maplewood Botanical Gardens. It was a beautiful place filled with a vast array of flowers, plants, and winding pathways. As they strolled through the gardens, Emily pointed out various plants, sharing her knowledge and passion for botany. "I used to volunteer at a botanical garden back in my hometown," she explained, gently touching the petals of a vibrant orchid. "It's always been a dream of mine to have my own little garden someday." James listened intently, appreciating Emily's enthusiasm. "That's wonderful. Maybe you could start a community garden here in Maplewood. I'm sure a lot of people would love to get involved." Emily's eyes lit up at the suggestion. "That's a great idea, James. I'll look into it. It would be a fantastic way to bring people together and create something beautiful." As they continued their walk, they came across a small, serene pond with a bench nearby. They sat down, enjoying the peaceful ambience and the gentle sound of water. "So, how's teaching going?" Emily asked, turning to James. "It's been good," James replied with a smile. "Challenging but rewarding. I love seeing my students improve and gain confidence in their English skills. It's why I became a teacher." Emily nodded, her expression thoughtful. "You know, it's amazing how language can connect people. Even though my patients and I sometimes struggle to understand each other, we always find a way to communicate. It reminds me of the importance of patience and empathy." James agreed wholeheartedly. "Absolutely. It's those connections that make all the difference." Their conversation continued, flowing effortlessly from one topic to another. They shared their hopes and dreams, their fears and challenges. By the time they left the gardens, they felt even closer, their friendship solidifying into something meaningful. The following weekend, James received another invitation from Mrs. Bennet. This time, it was for a smaller, more intimate gathering at her house. She was hosting a book club meeting and thought James might be interested. Curious and flattered, James accepted the invitation. He had always enjoyed reading and discussing books, and this seemed like a perfect way to engage with the community on a deeper level. When he arrived at Mrs. Bennet's house, he found a cozy setting with a small group of people gathered in the living room. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee and baked goods filled the air, creating a warm and inviting atmosphere. "James, welcome." Mrs. Bennet greeted him with a smile. "We're just about to start. Please, have a seat and help yourself to some refreshments." James thanked her and took a seat, joining the circle of book lovers. The discussion that evening revolved around a classic novel, and James found himself deeply engaged in the conversation. Each member brought their own perspective and insights, enriching the dialogue and sparking new ideas. As the evening progressed, James felt a growing sense of belonging. The book club wasn't just about discussing literature, it was about sharing experiences, learning from one another, and building connections. He left the meeting feeling inspired and grateful for the opportunity to be part of such a wonderful group. Over the next few months, James continued to immerse himself in the Maplewood community. He volunteered at local events, joined a hiking club, and even started a language exchange program at the library, where people could practice different languages and learn from each other. His friendship with Emily also continued to flourish. They supported each other through the ups and downs of life, always ready with a listening ear and a comforting word. Their bond grew stronger, and soon they realized that their feelings for each other had deepened beyond friendship. One evening, as they walked along the town's picturesque main street, James mustered the courage to express his feelings. "Emily, there's something I need to tell you," he began, his heart pounding in his chest. Emily looked at him, her expression curious and attentive. "What is it, James?" Taking a deep breath, James continued. "These past few months have been incredible. You've become such an important part of my life, and I can't imagine my days without you. I know that I've fallen in love with you." Emily's eyes widened, and for a moment, James feared he had overstepped. But then a smile spread across her face, and she reached out to take his hand. "James, I feel the same way," she said softly. "You've brought so much joy and meaning into my life. I love you too." Relief and happiness washed over James as they embraced, their hearts beating in unison. In that moment, they knew that their journey together was just beginning, and they were excited for the future that lay ahead. The annual neighborhood party had been a turning point for James, leading him to form lasting friendships and find love in a new town. It had shown him the power of community and the importance of connection. As he stood on the porch of his cozy home one evening, reflecting on the past year, James felt a profound sense of gratitude. Maplewood had become more than just a place to live, it had become a true home, filled with wonderful people and cherished memories. With Emily by his side and a community that welcomed him with open arms, James looked forward to many more adventures and celebrations. He knew that whatever challenges came his way, he had a strong support system and a heart full of love. The lights of Maplewood twinkled in the distance, and James smiled, ready to embrace the future and all the beautiful moments it would bring. The end.